Have you ever had a project that you wanted to make, but it's taken you years in the process? Well, this video is kind of one of these projects for me. I've been wanting to make this video for several years now.
Hi, Philip from the edit here. I'm really sorry about the audio. It's been up and down because the rain hit the microphone a few times, so apologies, but I hope you can still get the message overall. Let's get back to it.
In fact, I've recorded the hard footage of it that is at the end of it almost a year ago already. The problem is that it's quite an emotional video for me, and it's not something I wanted to rush, and I didn't quite know how to frame it. I recorded myself in a meltdown, or in the onset of a meltdown. It's something I've been hoping to be able to achieve for many years, but usually a meltdown comes much faster than you'd expect, and recording yourself in that moment is almost impossible. Thought maybe my wife can record me, but last year I managed to have just enough brain capacity left to record myself in the onset of a meltdown. I hope this is helpful in multiple ways. One, if you deal with meltdowns, if you have this experience, I hope you can relate and you can understand that you're not alone. Secondly, I think from the feedback I get, I come across as quite competent, as very successful in what I try to achieve and put together, but I want to make sure that everybody understands that that is not always the case. I still deal with sensory overloads, and those are not away. I don't want to hide those behind the camera. I want everyone to know that this is still reality for me. I want to give you a bit of background first about what led up to this situation last year, especially in the oncoming of the current time now as well. So it was at a Christmas party from work last year. I was there, and it was very well organized. I'm in Ireland, so it's raining, but you can't really choose your situations here much. So I was in the Christmas party, and I was having an okay time. I knew I should be careful with what I was gonna do, how I was gonna act, but I talked, and it started off okay. I was talking to a couple of my colleagues. It was very difficult for me to hear anything, but as long as it was a one-on-one conversation only, I was able to hold that, and it kept me focused on something, allowed me to focus on anything in particular, which helped me a little bit to avoid the noise. But this was maybe an hour or so, and then the band started to play. And the band played very well. I think they did a good job, but it was very, very loud. And I could tell that it was a lot. But I knew friends were there and they were having a great time, so I didn't want to interrupt the flow or do anything, and I thought I'll just stick it out. I can do this. Like I'm quite put together now, you know. I make YouTube videos, I do all this. I think I can do this. But the reality is I could not. I should have just listened to myself immediately and removed myself from the situation. The only thing that kept me going was focus on the left hand of the guitarist in his chord changes, and watch the chord progression and count his chords. But even that was at some point too much. I don't really remember much of what happened then, but I remember me walking around aimlessly in the pub, just moving through the crowds, trying to do nothing actually, just moving around, till one of my colleagues stopped me and said, "Philip, are you okay?" I said, yeah, I'm fine, don't worry. And he said, "You don't look okay. You look distressed. Are you sure?" And I'm still grateful to this man today. I then did a bit of self-reflection internally in that moment, and I realized he's right. I am not okay. I am totally overwhelmed. I cannot deal with anything else. I just turned around and walked towards the door, full power, just power walked out the door, tapping my head, which is one of the stimming techniques I fall into when I get overwhelmed a lot. And so I tapped my head. The moment I walked out the door, it was like bliss. But my brain was already overwrought, so it was too much. I walked to my car, and if you are dealing with the onset of a meltdown or with a meltdown, I urge you, please do not drive. Wait it out or ask someone else to drive for you. It's not safe to drive in that state. At least I know this for myself, and I'm not the police, I'm not the law, I can't tell you what to do, but please be careful and respect the difficulty a meltdown can bring on in your brain. Anyway, I was sitting in the car and I had this one flash of thought before I was broken out, saying I can't record myself. I pulled out my phone, shaking, and then I just held my phone there and I recorded myself in the onset of a meltdown. It didn't turn into a full meltdown, so I didn't end up crying for 90 minutes, but I think it's probably the best I've ever gotten in terms of footage, and I want to show it to you. If you're easily triggered by emotionally disturbing situations, then be careful. It is real. It is not staged. It is not an impersonation or reenactment. It is me in the moment being very, very distressed, overwhelmed, overstimulated, and my brain not being able to handle it, and my brain going into safety mode and shutting me down, essentially. So I hope it helps, and most importantly, I hope coming up to this next Christmas season, now holiday season, where a lot of companies, throughout the year, there'll be situations where companies have celebrations, and I want you to, if somebody removes themselves from the situation, and if somebody removes themselves from this situation, from this party, I want you to understand that that is not necessarily because they didn't have fun or because they don't like you, but they might just not be able to handle it, and knowing their own boundaries is very important. And I should have listened to myself, and I could have avoided this situation, but at least a teachable moment for me came out of it. So I want you to, if you deal with meltdowns, if you deal with sensory overload, please be respectful of your brain, of your body, of what you can handle, and accept those limitations. If you don't deal with it, but somebody else decides not to come, please don't make assumptions about their reasons. They may have real I just hope we can all understand that we're not all the same, and some things that are fun for one person may not be fun for the next person. So in that sense, please do enjoy any celebrations that are coming up, and I wish you all the best. Now you will see this heart of the video, me in distress. I want to let you know that I'm okay now. I was fine afterwards and I have recovered, and that's why I feel confident enough to do this. But it is real. In the moment, I am very, very distressed. So I hope it helps, and I wish you all the best. If you like this type of content, then please like the video, subscribe, leave a comment if you've ever been distressed, or if you've learned something from this video, or let me know what you want to learn next. Let's get into it. Thank you.